Sub-zero swells push a 150-meter longliner toward cold trenches where a 15-meter giant Pacific octopus is rumored.
Steel bow spray fills the frame, as American male industrial fishermen scan ice and keep course through heavy seas.
On deck, insulated gloves grip rails while crews secure lines, check shackles, and prepare for a long set. Bait is threaded onto industrial circle hooks, building scent trails designed to trigger a hidden octopus below. Engines clip onto the main line in rhythm, spacing hooks evenly so retrieval loads stay predictable in freezing wind.
Weighted mainline feeds over the stern roller, and crew calls pace to prevent tangles in rough swells.
Buoys and weights splash down tight beside the hull, marking the corridor of baited hooks drifting into darkness.
Hauler drums idle under test tension, ready to hold steady when something massive grabs and refuses release. Paper charts and pencil logs record drift and set time, keeping the operation repeatable without digital screens. As dusk settles, the longline soaks in near-freezing water, with no animal visible and bait working silently.
Hooks descend beneath slate water, drifting silently with bait intact and leaders aligned along the main line.
Cold currents tug the leaders, keeping bait moving enough to trigger touch-first predators in darkness.
After hours soaking, the first buoy shows subtle movement, hinting at a heavy load below.
The hauler engages slowly, letting tension build without snapping hardware in freezing, stiffened lines.
Gloved hands guide steel cable over rollers, keeping alignment true as the longline rises from depth. The first hooks return untouched, confirming bait condition and building anticipation for a single decisive strike.
A sharp pulse runs through the main line, and crew body language shifts as tension spikes without warning.
2 or 3 fishermen work in sync, calling cadence while the hauler holds steady against a relentless pull.
Below, a colossal squid investigates bait with slow, deliberate tentacle touches before committing to the hook. The beak snaps shut, and the circle hook seats firmly in the beak corner, locking the fight.
Tentacles wrap and release in bursts, translating deep water force into rapid surface-side line surges.
On deck, shouting increases as the hauler slows, protecting hardware while keeping constant upward progress. The buoy line angles hard beside the hull, signaling something heavy rising and still refusing the pull. Heavy waves slap the hull, adding jerks that compound the squid's own powerful pulses.
The leader creaks under load, and the crew keeps the angle low to avoid tearing the beak.
The colossal squid breaks the surface in a violent surge, tentacles thrashing while the beak stays hooked. Red-brown mantle rolls at the surface, revealing thick arms and suction cups gripping the waterline.
The hauler pauses, letting waves pass before lifting again, preventing uncontrolled slams against steel. 2 fishermen coordinate straps and guide ropes, preparing a controlled swing for a massive animal at the rail. The squid slams onto deck alive, tentacles whipping as the hooked beak remains clearly secured. Crew keeps distance, using ropes and straps to control arms without piercing tissue or causing bleeding. A tight strap cinches around the mantle, turning uncontrolled thrashing into a heavy, manageable drag.
The squid surges again at the rail, dragging water across deck as suction cups momentarily latch. The hook position is checked repeatedly, keeping the leader exiting only from the beak, never the face. The hauler resumes, lifting steadily while arms coil and uncoil like heavy cables under strain. At the surface, the squid heaves half its mantle clear, throwing spray as tentacles lash violently. Freezing spray blinds briefly, but the crew keeps rhythm, preventing slack that could shake the hook loose.
Underwater, a faint ink veil disperses quickly, leaving the beak and hook still visibly locked together.
Suction cups flex and release, showing raw strength without blood, as the crew maintains controlled tension.
The mantle is guided toward a landing zone, keeping tentacles away from moving machinery and pinch points.
Another violent deck thrash erupts, and fishermen shout commands while keeping the hooked beak in frame.
With straps set, the squid's motion slows into heavy pulses, emphasizing true mass rather than speed.
The hook is removed carefully from the beak, maintaining a clean deck with no visible blood. Measurements are taken quickly, documenting mantle length and arm spread before the sea reclaims the weather window.
Seawater wash clears ink residue, keeping surfaces safe and clean for handling in freezing temperatures.
Cold light returns briefly, and the crew resets hardware, preparing to finish hauling remaining sections of line.
Empty hooks pass steadily, confirming a single dominant catch rather than a mixed haul of other species.
The squid surges again beside the hull, churning foam as thick arms whip and water explodes.
The final lift is timed between swells, turning dangerous motion into a controlled swing over deck steel. Coiled tentacles are secured with straps, preventing suction cups from reattaching during rough transit back to port. The Longline is stowed methodically, avoiding tangles that could delay departure from rapidly worsening polar weather.
A brief calm opens, and the vessel turns down sea, keeping the catch stable under steady strap tension. Exhausted fishermen check knots and straps, knowing one failure could shift tons of weight across slick steel.
A final deck convulsion hits, and crew shouts while the secured beak area remains visibly controlled. With movement fading, the catch is secured for transit, keeping all arms bundled and suction cups neutralized.
The ocean remains hostile, but the ship's pace steadies, shifting focus from capture to preservation. The deck is cleared and re-rigged, maintaining safety in freezing conditions, where slips become serious injuries.
A close check confirms no hook damage, reinforcing the beak-only hook rule for every longline squid sequence.
The vessel holds course through sleet-like spray, keeping the catch stable under straps and chilled wind.
Cold fog thickens near the waterline, and the ship's structure fills frame to avoid horizon letterboxing.
Port lights appear faintly, signaling the shift from dangerous capture to industrial processing in cold chain facilities.
Dock approach is deliberate, protecting a massive biological load that can shift if seas surge alongside pilings.
On deck, fishermen celebrate beside tentacles piled like a mountain, proof of a natural giant colossal squid landing. The catch transfers to shore under slings, starting the factory chain without exposing meat to warmth.
Forklifts and cranes move slowly, reflecting the inertia of a single enormous specimen in freezing air.
At receiving, seafood workers weigh and document the squid, keeping surfaces sanitized and blood-free. Chilled rinse water removes ink residue, revealing the mantle's red-brown skin and pale flesh beneath.
The beak area is inspected again, confirming hook contact stayed beak-only throughout the capture sequence.
Skin peeling begins on the mantle, exposing glossy white squid meat with no resemblance to fish fillets. The mantle is opened and cleaned, separating organs without gore, preparing uniform sheets for portioning.
Tentacles are separated and trimmed, with suction cups intact for texture, then routed to different product lines.
Large mantle sheets move to portion tables, where straight cuts maximize yield and consistent cooking thickness. Rings and strips are produced in volume, highlighting how one colossal squid can feed an industrial pipeline.
A quick chill step firms the flesh, keeping squid texture springy before freezing locks quality in place.
Rapid freezing begins, turning portions into stable product without ice damage that would weaken squid bite. Workers check color and moisture, ensuring the meat stays squid white and never resembles salmon or tuna.
Plain packaging is used to avoid branding, protecting the visual, while portions move into sealed cold storage.
Vacuum sealing removes air, slowing oxidation and freezer burn during long transport from remote cold ports. Cartons stack onto pallets, building a tight cube for efficient freezer airflow and safer forklift handling. Inside cold rooms, frost fog spills low, and workers move quickly to keep doors closed. Pallets are staged for containers, maintaining uninterrupted cold chain from factory floor to final kitchen.
Forklifts slide pallets into reefer containers, using slow, precise alignment to avoid puncturing sealed product.
Container doors seal shut, locking frozen squid portions into a controlled environment that resists thaw cycles. Snowy wind returns, and loaded reefers move out, shifting the story from sea violence to logistics discipline.
A cold cargo hub receives the load, keeping frozen product sealed and anonymous for clean documentary visuals. Frozen squid portions are staged for last-mile delivery, with no visible branding, QR codes, or barcodes.
Refrigerated loading stays quick, minimizing door open time that can create surface frost and texture loss.
The chain ends at a professional kitchen, where frozen squid becomes food through controlled thaw and clean cuts.
Frozen portions thaw under cold water, preserving springy squid texture while preventing warm spots and bacterial growth.
Knife work turns sheets into rings and steaks, emphasizing clean squid fiber rather than fish-like flaking.
Light dredging coats rings evenly, setting up a fast fry that keeps interiors tender.
Hot oil flashes briefly, and rings crisp quickly, creating a familiar dish from an extreme deep ocean catch.
Cold chain proof shows in rigid packaging, with frost fog rolling off cartons as doors open briefly. Short transfers prevent thaw, keeping squid texture stable from container to kitchen without visible branding. A refrigerated truck completes the last leg, staying anonymous with no readable plates, logos, or labels. Delivery ends at a backdoor prep station, where sealed squid portions enter food service quietly.
In the kitchen, portion control continues, turning deep-sea squid into consistent plates for diners. Seasoning stays simple, letting squid texture and mild flavor carry the dish without heavy sauces.
High heat sears mantle steaks quickly, preventing rubbery chew while locking moisture inside.
Fried rings drain and crisp, showing how careful cutting and timing define finished squid quality.
Plating adds lemon and greens, creating a calm finale after violent cold ocean hauling.
A server carries plates out, connecting industrial cold chain to ordinary dining in one continuous story.
American diners eat quietly, using fork and knife, focusing on texture rather than spectacle. Close cuts reveal firm white squid inside a crisp coating, confirming correct species texture on the plate.
Conversation stays low and ordinary, contrasting the polar deck chaos that delivered this meal. Back in the kitchen, remaining portions are stored properly, demonstrating food safety after long-distance freezing. Final bites end the journey, turning a natural giant squid from deep cold ocean into simple comfort food. Plates are cleared without fanfare, keeping the ending grounded and documentary ordinary.
The table sits empty, emphasizing that the sea's violence is finished and nothing living remains on screen. Outside, cold air drifts through a quiet street, closing the story far from the deck and open ocean.